I'm going to explain 3 topics for the price of 1 in this tutorial. I'm going to explain how you can extract channels from stereo and surround sound files, how to use the batch process to change files and then export them, and finally how to use the save all command. So to follow along, you want to get these 7 files, the first 6, bass, guitar, etc., are all inside the music just too hard to find subfolder. You can find them bass, guitar, and then roll on down the line there. Then the surround mix is inside the music just couldn't be that way subfolder right down there at the bottom. Sometimes you're going to want to extract channels from a stereo or surround sound file so you can edit them or save them under different file formats, what have you, all of which you can do inside Audition. To do that, it's very simple. Simply open up a multi-channel file, be it stereo or surround, and then go to Edit, Extract Channels to Mono. You click that and bam, it's done. You've got 2 new files showing up here in the Files panel with the name L and R next to them and then a little asterisk saying these are temporary files stored in a temporary folder, and if you want to save them, now you need to save them in some location and give them the name that you want to give them, be it this name or some other name. You can do the same with a surround sound file. Just open that one up. It's 6 channels. It works the same way. If I go to Edit, Extract Channels to Mono Files, wham, you've got 6 new files added to the Files panel. Again, the same process, each channel broken out as a separate file. So that's how you extract multi-channel files into individual channels as files here that you can then go on to edit or save as individual files. Okay, let's talk about a batch process. There's a way that you can do what's called a batch export. And along the way, if you want to change the files when you export them, you can. It's sort of like saving a whole bunch of files at once, but you get a few options along the way. So there are 3 ways to access the batch process approach. Go to Window and then choose Batch Process. That opens up this Batch Process panel, to which you can then drag files that you want to process. That's one way to go. If you go to Edit, down here it says Batch Process, and that would do the same thing. It would open up this panel. And finally, if you go to File, then you're going to say something here that says Save All Audio as Batch Process. And what that does, it takes every single file inside your Files panel and puts all of them inside that Batch Process panel. Let's watch that one. It'll load them all up. It says it places all in there. Just to be aware of that, and I'll click OK. It loads them all up inside there. Now, is that what I want to do? Not in this case. But, we can deal with that. I'm going to click on these guys. I'm going to Shift click down here, and I'm going to Control click on a few more that I don't want to have in here. It's very simple. You didn't have to do this little thing, but I just want to show you that you can go down and select all of them, press delete, and now we're down to the 5 that I want to work with. So 3 ways to get here, and if you use that last way, File, Save All Audio as Batch Process, it takes everything from the Files panel and puts it in here. The other 2 ways, just open up the Batch Process panel. So here we have these 5 files. What do we want to do with them? If I simply want to export them, I click on Export Settings and decide how I want to export them. Here in the Export Settings dialog box, I can give each file a prefix or a postfix. I can give them a word that appears at the beginning of each file name to kind of identify that these guys have been exported, and you want to make sure you don't cover up the old names or the old files. I can change the location. Right now it's the same as the source file location, but I can change that if I want. Since these guys would be exported to the file location, which is the working files folder, I probably want to change that to something else. Probably go to my Audition exercise files instead. I can overwrite existing files, so do be careful if you check that. Now here you can change the format, which is just like saving these guys as something. So if you were to save as, and you could save them all as a group, this is one way to do that. You can just change the format here if you want to, and all the other factors as well. Then it says remove files from the panel upon completion. I can do that, which we'll skip for now. I could close the files upon completion if they're open here inside Audition. Include markers and other metadata. So if I click OK, that just sets the settings. And now if I click on Run, it'll take these 5 files and export them with those settings that we just applied and put those names in front of them. I don't want to do that right now. What I do want to do is try one more thing, and that is I want to change them. So along the way, I can do what's called a batch process. I don't have to just export them. I can go up here and choose something from one of the presets that I've created, like this Jeff's Vocal Reverb Chorus. If I click that, it's going to apply that effect, that preset, to all 5 of these guys and then export them. So if you want to do something along the way, you can. If you just want to apply a favorite, then turn off export before you click on Run. If you have export on here like that, when you click Run, it'll do this thing that you've asked it to do, and then it'll export it. So let me just do that. So doing all that work took about a minute or so. You can find them there, export, etc. All 5 of those guys. And if I go to my exercise files, there they are, all added like that. And if I listen to one of them, we'll just open up one of those guys. Open up the vocal. It will have those effects added to it. I called you up, but you were not. So not only can you export a bunch of files at once using the batch process, you can apply a favorite to them along the way. Finally, let's talk about Save All. If I choose Save All now, File, Save All, it's going to take all the files that have asterisk next to them, things that have been changed, and will save them someplace. So I'm going to browse to my desktop, go to my Audition exercise files, and click Save. Now down here I'm going to go OK. I'm going to accept all the defaults here. And it'll take each of those files one at a time. Let me save them using whatever terms I want to save them as. And it'll take all those guys that we just created, all those extracted channels, and it'll save them to our exercise files as well. That's the Save All approach. And here they are inside the exercise files. All that work we did to extract those files, we use to Save All, so we can save them as a group. So Save All lets you save things that you've changed. It won't let you save things that you haven't changed. So there you go. 3 processes for the price of 1. Extracting channels, using the batch process, and then using the Save All command.